Hey everybody, welcome to another Lift Online. Tonight we're going to actually look at a story from Exodus. So we're still in our series on Psalm 23, talking about how the Lord is our shepherd. But tonight we're talking about how God saves us from things that are hard. He's there to be our deliverance. And one of the verses that we're going to talk about tonight actually comes from God saving the Israelites when they're stuck in Egypt, when they're slaves in Egypt. So I'm going to read a passage, and this talks about the time when God led the Israelites out of Egypt. It says, "The king sent the people out of Egypt. God did not lend them into the road through the Philistine country. That road was the shortest way, but God said they might think they have to fight. Then they might change their minds and go back to Egypt. So God led them through the desert toward the Red Sea. The Israelites were dressed for fighting when they left the land of Egypt. Moses carried the bones of Joseph with him. Before Joseph died, he had made the sons of Israel promise to do this. He had said, 'When God saves you, remember to carry my bones with you out of Egypt.' The people of Israel left sackcloth and camped at Etham. Etham was on the edge of the desert. The Lord showed them the way. During the day, they went ahead of them he went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud, and during the night, the Lord in a pillar of fire to give them light. They could travel during the day or night. The pillar of cloud was always with them during the day, and the pillar of fire was with them at night." So, what that passage is talking about is that when the Israelites were freed from Egypt and God led them out of Egypt, they were in the desert and they're wandering around in the desert, and God would lead them during the day, and he would show up as a giant pillar of cloud, and at night he would show up as a giant pillar of fire. And today we're going to kind of show what that looks like. So we did this at VBS, and we're going to do it again. This is the pillar of fire experiment, and what it does is we're going to light a little thing here on fire, and this is just a little piece of cloth that has some lamp oil in it. We're going to light it on fire, and you're going to see that it's going to be pretty small. It's not going to burn very high. Okay, I think it's lit. I can't really see it. Let me make sure it's going. There we go. Okay, so you got this little thing of lamp oil. I might need to put a little more in there. Yeah, let me do. Oh wait, let's get actually going. So we can see how small that is, right? You see that, Lukey? Now what happens is, if we feed it some oxygen by spinning this, look what's going to happen. We're going to create a vortex of air in there. Let's spin it a little faster and watch what happens. Oh, look at that. You create a pillar of fire. It's actually a fire tornado, because you're creating this vortex of spinning air around the fire, around the flame, and it creates this column of fire that goes up really high. Isn't that crazy? And this is kind of like a really, really small version of what the Israelites saw in the desert when God was leading them as a pillar of fire. Can you imagine one of these that are just massive, size of a building? Isn't that really cool?
Wow, that is big.
It gets really big. If you spin it fast, it gets really big. Imagine if we put this on a motor. Imagine how fast we could spin this, and imagine how big it would get. Look at that. Maybe I'll send a link to a version of this that somebody did online, where they used a bunch of fans, and it was this giant pillar of fire. Isn't that really cool?
Wow.
All right, so remember, this is what God was like, what he showed the Israelites in the desert, and he was showing a symbol of his power as he was saving them from this really hard experience that they had to go through when they're slaves in Egypt. And God, as our shepherd, does the same for us. He delivers us from things that are hard and difficult, and we can rely on his strength and not our own to save us from hardship. All right, Lukey, can you say bye?
Bye.
Bye, guys. See you next week.